Hello everybody, thank you for being here. So today my talk gonna be about brain inference, Movi-Watching paradigm, and a bit of mental health. So talking about brain inference, there are several names that encompass this topic. So predictive coding, free energy, active inference, and Bayesian inference. Brings this idea that that our brain is always predicting what is coming next, and this behavior is something compulsory and imperative, is the way that our brain is dealing with uncertainty, and this is gonna be seeing several different areas, from music in the brain, from other topics. And that this gonna comes from brain networks to microcircuits to single cells. So in these different levels, encompass this multi-level panoramic. And that's gonna be related to mental health, as we can see some works done in schizophrenia and in panic disorder. And now, linking that to Movi-Watching. Movi-Watching have been showing as a paradigm to tackle naturalistic stimuli as being a way of suppressing resting state in the terms of signal and what we can do with it. A way of studying that is using brain states. So this way we can see the different states that gonna go in this temporal component, and have been shown to be linked to synchronicity and identity. So different brains watching the same movie some brain networks gonna synchronize, and also we're gonna be able to see identity, as some brain areas gonna have very individualized behavior. And is also related to mental health, as has been seen through depression and ADHD and other ones. Here is one example of the difference that we can see using this paradigm. So the research gaps that we have been studying over here, and what inspired our research, is how in the brain inference field, there is a lack of experimental research and is more a theory-based. And because of that, also we see a lack of neurobiological explanations of the behaviors that we see. And in the naturalist paradigm, we want to use that to be able to study better brain inference and to expand what we know about naturalist paradigm. So our goals for this research is to identify which movie clips reliably evoke distinct brain states, how do naturalistic stimuli paradigm showcase inference properties, and understand better this temporal dependence associated with mental health and brain atlas. So in the end, we want to have this context of how this multi-level atlas can help us understand this temporal dependence that we see in movie-watching paradigm. So here is a collective of database that have movie watching in fMRI. So we have over 1,800 participants and over 4 million seconds registered in all this database. Some of them have participants with psychiatric symptoms, some others doesn't have, and we are hoping to explore both of them. So here we have this proposal of decomposed movie-watching signals using an agnostic approach, construct more naturalistic and reliable brain states, leveraging large database, and the rest ones. So first of all, we start linking movies and fMRI, identifying some brain network structures and see how the signal gonna go over time in these structures. So we done that for 14 brain networks that was collected from other labs, and that was identified as brain networks that are important for movie watching. And after done that, we selected the movie clips that was connected with this brain network. This is supposed to be a video, but okay. Here. So we can see some short clips of the movies that are linked to these networks that we have been through it. Okay. Moving forward, the next approach that we decided to use was more agnostic one. So for that, we did the dynamic function connectivity and later the decomposition of it and a clustering of that. Here we have a movie of the data. And so we can see here in these plots, we have the three latents of this dynamic function connectivity, and we separate them in these clusters that was using a threshold for the separation, and we separate in 8 clusters. And in the next plot, we see these latent components and the brain states that is there are the clusters in the blue line, and the other lines are the latent components. This is for one subject in watching one movie. So here we see all the subjects that are watching these different movies. We have 10 movies in this database and 86 participants. Each movie is watched by around 20 participants, so we have more ones that I didn't plot over here, but just to see the variation that we encounter. And with that, we were able to separate in 8 different brain states, as I said, and here are the connectome of each one of them. And after that, we want to do a prediction of forecast of the future brain states. So in the first plot, we see this prediction. So we use the previous brain states and the previous latent components to predict the next one, and we predict the next 5 minutes until the next 50 minutes, so all of these different legs. And in average, we have a 70% performance doing this prediction, what we were very happy with this result. And as we can see in the green line, in the blue line is this result, the best model. The green line is just copying the last brain state, so is a more dummy model, but was a reference that we want to make to see if just copying the last brain state, what would be the behavior. And later we see the matrix of this forecast. So of 10 minutes is this matrix, and the last plot is the importance, the contribution of each feature to this model. Yeah. Another latent space that we create with this dynamic function connectivity was this one using AUMAP. And with this one, we were able to identify each individual in our data. So with this clustering that with the UMAP, we could not do the forecast because it identified too well each participant. Was not an expected behavior of the modeling, but was a good behavior at the end that we can see how strong was the signal in using these dynamic function connectivities. After that, we have a different project that is associated with this one that is seeing the different atlas and how it's correlated with these brain states. So here are some of them. These are from the NeuroMaps tool. And we see some correlation with the cognitive PC1 that I will not go through it, but is what we intend to use it for studying more our brain states that we just have it. And so the key takeaways for this talk is how brain states forecast exhibit predictable dynamics reaching 70% across predictions horizons from 5 to 50 minutes, and that dynamic function connectivity during movies capture individual brain difference really well. Our limitation, of course, since we are working with fMRI, is the temporal and the spatial resolution. That is a problem over here, and since we are in a conference that have high resolution tools, we we can see how this is important. And for the next step, we hope to incorporate database with participants with psychiatric symptoms and incorporate stimuli in the model as well, as is very important for our next steps. And explore better the associations of brain states with multi-level brain maps. This work has this goal of being able to expand the naturalistic stimuli field, to experiment more in the brain inference field, to develop precision medicine, and to leverage multi-level tools. Thank you, everybody, and this is the acknowledge of everybody involved.